at the end of the 19th centuries, a funny dude from England named Darwin suggested an idea that people came from apes. Humans came from apes outside of everything else. And since that, this theory, probably number one for the creation of the human race. And today, we're going to challenge that. Not because we're scientists, neither was Darwin, but because we can, and because we want, and because we will.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want.
We want, we do what we want, and even though almost, my daughter almost kicked me out of the house yesterday because we talked about it, and because she's a new emerging mainstream scientist,
Yeah,
and I'm just
beware.
a person.
Beware,
who
Natasha.
Yes, I'm just a person who challenges everything besides math, chemistry, and physics. That is not challengeable. That's
Okay,
proof. Anyway,
that's true. Yeah, that's
let's
true.
roll. So,
Anyway, there's so much things that we don't know about how we came to be, that, theories are only theories. And until we have a solid proof, we don't know nothing about ourselves. Welcome to
that
the
is true.
Queen with Accents podcast. And today
Yes,
we're
that's
going to have
true.
another
Oh,
very
Natasha.
controversial topic, I think, because I'm afraid that there's going to be this, this division between people who believe that we were made by powers that, the God powers, and
Yes,
people who believe
theological,
that
yeah.
we are pretty much the science project.
Or
And
some
being,
other people who are extraterrestrial were extraterrestrial creation, right?
yeah. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of people that can comment. What do you think? How we came to be?
Yeah, I think if we'll somehow merge into scientific community, they will pretty much will try to murder us, because anything, if you just try to say even one single word against the mainstream idea of the creation of everything, they just explode. Just even the you watch Friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, I forgot his name. It's my favorite character, Ross. Ross, he's a scientist, mainstream scientist. And with Phoebe, they were arguing with Phoebe, and she's like, I don't believe in theory of evolution. It's actually, I believe in theory of evolution. I just don't believe that humans came from apes, and he just exploded. And but let's go back to Darwin. Let's start from the beginning and just talk about a little bit about it. Who actually was Darwin?
Okay.
Darwin was not a scientist. He was a basically uneducated dude who loved to travel and who hanged out on Galapagos and was bored to death. So he started studying birds, and he tried to get medical degree. His father forced him to do that, but he didn't because he was afraid of not afraid, but he kind of found it boring, and according to his biography, and he couldn't watch surgeries,
Mm-hmm.
upset him pretty much because they were done without any anesthesia and basically on kids, and he couldn't handle it. He was, I guess, emotional, empathic dude. So he decided to travel. He couldn't handle it. He decided to travel, and that's how he reached Galapagos, as in there are turtles and birds, hundreds of thousands of birds, and started developing his theories. He came back after 5 years, right? I think 5 years. He went back to homeland, and he proposed his theory. And scientists at that time were fighting over and trying to figure out how we all were created. And along with his theories, there were a lot of other ones, including Lamarck, which didn't work
Mm-hmm.
out. And but after long debates, the scientific community came to the conclusion that this theory works for us. We're gonna accept it. We're gonna accept it, and we're gonna roll with that.
Well, there's truth in this theory, in this theory, because you know there's a lot of documentations that the proofs that have been found that the evolution can actually do such a thing, and that the prehistoric human and the Homo sapiens that we are now, they kind of had this. We don't know what happened between this and this, and we don't actually have solid proof of this little piece in the chain that made us step from prehistoric human to the Homo sapiens that we are. But I understand why scientists actually took this theory as the beginning of proving process of how we came to be. Because I mean, we see a lot of things like dinosaurs. This theory, right? That our chicken, they are basically dinosaurs, and we think that dinosaurs were kind of reptilian, but also that they are birds. There's a lot of things that's circulating in a science field, in a human or animal field. So it's been so long ago that, of course, to have a solid proof, we really have to travel back time. But I kind of understand that it was also it was a simple thing. It was pretty simple theory, so people would understand and believe in this, because they want, the time of progress, the time of machines that was coming to a person's life. Everything was starting to become more automatic, and I think that a lot of scientists, they wanted to have this another part of evolution. I think from the very religious people that were kind of scared of everything modern, to be a little bit more elevated, to be a little bit more science based. And so that's why I think this theory also it became mainstream and became very popular.
It makes a lot of sense, and I don't actually argue with the evolution theory. If you look at all the evidence, obviously it works. That's just the human part, the Homo sapiens part. That's what is very, very confusing. So when you start digging into it, then where it becomes like very, very confusing, doesn't make a lot of sense. And also yesterday, while I was doing research, I needed to look at dates and all of that. I tried to actually create a kind of map of our human like developing, and it became a little bit insane. But I asked the question, like, who put it in schools? Like, who made it, put it in schools books, in school books? And in America, in Russia, it's in Asia, it's in a lot of European countries, but not in everywhere. So there's not a one single person, which is also kind of like how you see and you look at it and how the government works. There's the government, and obviously it's not a single source, not a single person, but kind of it accumulated over the years, and somebody in the government decided that's what kids are going to study.
Okay, so government did it all.
It always comes to the government, and somehow the government work together and somehow unites in all countries. All of a sudden, that becomes a theory. No one, challenges
and
it.
We've seen that very recently. Do you remember a couple of years back? All governments suddenly decided to go with in one direction, with one pretty strict things, considering a virus.
Oh yeah, of course, it's everything. Yeah. All of a sudden,
everything just went. Everything went closed. Everything closed.
Yeah. When you start thinking about it, yes, we understand math. I understand chemistry and physics, how it works, and it's something that's proven, right? Like Earth is round. It's something is proven. It's not. It's easy. You cannot argue with 2 + 2, right? It's not 3. It's never will be 3. But everything else, which is challenging, how does it get its way to our schools, to our universities, and mainstream or conventional or convenient scientists. I like the word convenient, more convenient
Hmm.
science, who call themselves scientists right now, right? And who argue or adopt or disagree with some theories. Those are not scientists that created something. Those are scientists that learn something that other scientists put out there, right? So they learn that and they scrape on top of their lungs and trying to prove that theory that they have nothing to do without. They're just a very, they have good memories. They would get memory.
Okay.
They learned it and they try to prove it to other people on top of their lungs, without actually find a proof themselves. Uh, find some new archaeological, you know, proof of these ideas. Find that actually I found that the missing link kind of was found between the Homo
Yeah.
sapiens and the prehistoric.
Australopithec. Yeah.
Sort of, but it's not like it's still sort of.
Okay.
The science actually, we'll go back because I'm getting entangled, but the science actually, if you think about it, the science is not developed completely. With all this AI, it seems like we're so developed, we're so civilized, but we keep discovering new organs in our bodies consistently.
You know what?
With
With
all
AI,
MRIs and scans and everything,
I
we keep
think
discovering new organs in human bodies.
you know what my thoughts about AI, and it feels like with AI we're degrading, not
Oh, we're
upgrading
gonna
ourselves.
degrade
Yeah,
100%. The humans
yeah,
will go back to, how the
pretty
making
much.
a fire from stone. Actually, I
Because
don't think they're
a
gonna
lot of
go make
people can,
fire.
yeah, a lot of people don't know how to make it. I don't think that I can make it, but I know
Yeah,
the process.
never
I
tried.
know the theory behind this. Yeah, I've never done it before, but I know the theory. Maybe I can manage.
Yeah, you know what? Well, I'll switch a little bit. When we were kids and we were playing
Uh-huh.
like in schoolyards and house
Yeah.
like yards. Remember, we all would go to our big schoolyards and we would make. I don't know if you did, but we would make fire and bake potatoes in those
Y-
yards in schoolyards. There was a bunch of ashes everywhere because kids
Yes.
were baking potatoes. That's what our childhood. And I remember we were trying to make fire out of stones. We're like,
We
didn't
tried to
work.
make the fire out of stones with the wood, this thing.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, because we've heard it on in a class. We've heard it, we studied it, and we decided that we need to try that ourselves. We were very curious about this. We wanted to understand if that's true because it felt pretty much unreal. It felt like a fantasy, and of course, you wanted to copy it. And someone was succeeding in this, someone not. But it actually feels like with the AI, you won't be able to do it just because just
Yeah,
because
yeah, because
you
no
think
one
you
is
wouldn't
going
need.
to try
Yeah, yeah.
to figure something
Well,
out
well, I think
themselves.
that yeah, I think that maybe this theory. You're saying that we don't have any proofs that Australopithec is the missing link, and there's a lot of things. I think that there's the uh, science world desperately needs some answers, and that's why perhaps they try to search and they try to tell us that they found something. They try to tell themselves that they found something, and science is also like a living organism because it develops a lot of new proofs, new ideas, new
Yeah,
things that we have to
not
research and
mainstream.
study.
Yeah, not mainstream scientists. I'm talking about mainstream scientists. I'm not talking
Yeah,
about people who try
this
to
yes.
challenge something and actually find new ideas. Yeah, those are two different branches. And mainstream scientists, they will always clench on this idea and will hold on it deadly, have a deadly hold no matter what. You will try to prove them. And if there's alien will land tomorrow and say, actually my planet created you,
Yeah,
they will, challenge it. They will say, yeah,
maybe.
not true. Um, or maybe I don't know. Maybe they will black out and I don't know what will happen, but something will happen anyway. But Darwin, right? Darwin.
Yeah,
So he
Darwin.
had an idea, but about the creation of the Earth and what was the actual theory, the evolution of the survivor of the fittest at the origin of the species. But he lived. He created on Galapagos, right? He didn't
Yeah.
actually have the actual proof of anything. That was just idea. The theory that all humans are it's pretty much proven, that one, that all humans came from Africa, was pretty recent. It was after Darwin that all humans came from Africa. And
Yeah. I mean, I've heard it when I was a kid. When I was in school, we have this theory that, the life as we know it came from Africa, and people just migrated everywhere and developed they kind of found the conditions they were living in, and the evolution made it possible for a human to live everywhere in the planet. Well, almost everywhere in the planet.
yeah, but that's where it starts become funky, right?
Mm.
The amount of homos, and I don't like to pronounce, but that's what we called, right? The early
Yeah.
humans. Almost different kind of homos because they're Latin names and they're long and there's a lot of it. Right now, the amount of little fragments of skeletons and different DNAs they found goes up to 50.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they will live kind of simultaneously or close to each other, approximately the same time, like even thousands of years. For these kind of developments, it seems very close,
Yeah.
basically at the same time, because it took millions of years and thousands of years. It's nothing. So it's basically at the same time. There were apes in Africa, right? Let's go like straight, direct, like very simple, right?
Yeah.
Discussion about it, and then words you using simple words about it, and not like I know a lot of scientific words for it. Let's sort of all Latin. So a huge amount of apes in Africa started developing into 50 different species. These 50 different
Okay.
species didn't like to live in Africa, so they started going to the different lands, right? Crossing to different lands, and they're crossing and crossing and
Probably.
crossing. And until there's two of them, they keep crossing and they keep dying and dying because they couldn't survive, until only two of them exist. And that's we know that there are two species. It's proven two species exist, like Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, until
Yeah.
they cross match and all of that, until Neanderthals died out as well, even though right now we see that some people with very high foreheads, they do look like kind of
Yeah,
Neanderthals.
I've heard this theory that Neanderthals are actually like Amonas, and those two species
Some
kind of
people do
merged.
look like Neanderthals
Yeah,
with
some
eyebrows like that and high
yeah,
foreheads,
it's in the
even,
genes, I guess. Yes, it's in the DNA.
yeah,
Something that
and
makes
so,
them this look that
yeah,
way.
so they mixed. Neanderthals as a species is a branch of a species who died, and Homo sapiens survived, and that's it. The apes stopped at that point
They stopped
developing into
developing.
humans
They stopped
and
developing.
crossing to the
Maybe they
other
were some.
continents.
Yeah, maybe there was some kind of like a species of apes, or kind of like ape like animals that could actually, that their genes, their DNA had some more information, some more development, or something like this. I don't know. Maybe there wasn't every ape like on the planet that could do it. Maybe there
No,
was just one
but
species.
50 at the same time. That was,
Okay.
bothers me a little bit, just a little bit.
Okay.
And
Well,
yeah, and we
yes,
have
I can
a lot of
understand that.
them. We actually have skulls. We have the actual skulls and museum where you can see them. So there was a lot of humans at one point
Mhm.
on Earth. That was,
Okay.
obviously it's not gonna, the mainstream scientists not gonna question it, but I will, and other people will. But that's what bothers me, and they stopped. And there's condition and the environment and everything changed. So apes didn't have a need to develop into humans anymore because they had a need. Like, we have a need to stand up on 2 feet, all 50 of them. And so they stood up. Their vocal cords developed.
They just scratched their heads and decided, you know what? Nah, this life's gonna be too much. It's gonna be difficult. We don't want that. We will still be in apes and
Yeah,
bananas and coconuts and
yeah,
everything.
but
It's
before that,
fine.
they
It's
decided
yeah,
they needed let's, and then they all develop. Okay, again, we
too
can say,
much
oh,
work.
there's
You have to go to the office every day, and you are just a little manager, and you have this little salary. Nah, I'm good.
yeah, and but not as yeah. But before that, they also, all of them, or maybe not all of them. We don't know if all of them, or just Homo sapiens, sapiens and Neanderthals developed local cords, and that's when you
Yeah.
see how it develops and how the actual anatomy change in our throats when we straighten up. We straighten up
Okay.
those prehistoric humans straighten up, their vocal, the anatomy changed and the vocals dropped. And for some theories are so funny. Some theories says the humans had a need of communicating with each other. That's why.
Of
That's
course,
why
of course,
they
of course.
developed vocal cords. That's why.
How else
Listen,
a
I
wife
think you
can
can.
tell a man to go outside and kill the mammoth? She needs meat, for God's sake. She need to
You just
she
can.
need to say it,
You
because
just can
if
want.
she will just write it down or sign it, her husband will not understand. He will bring something else, and she needs the very specific meat. So of course she needs to talk. How
But
and her
but you
mother?
understand.
How can she not talk to her mother about her husband that doesn't do whatever she wants him to do? You know, yeah,
This theory is a power of manifestation, right?
maybe.
I want to talk. I want to talk.
Yes. Yes,
Boom, the
because the
vocal
big
cords
stick doesn't
drop.
work anymore. Because I beat him up so much that he doesn't even feel this anymore. I need to say it. I need to say it out loud.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what
That's how it
what the
happened. That's
the
one of the
prehistoric
theories.
woman thought. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not going even go in that time when
Okay.
the actual apes came from something, from little animals, and that's millions of years. Will leave behind to the main scientists. The main
Okay.
scientists will go further, right?
Yeah.
Vocal cords develops 50 different homos went to other continents. They settled down and they died down. So we're the only ones that survived.
Okay.
Kudos to us. Yes, we're so powerful.
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. Yeah. So screw the missing link. We don't worry. We don't worry about it. We developed from the apes to humans. We walked into feet. We can create
You know what,
fire on
Natasha?
all of that.
I'm sorry to say, but this
Yeah.
missing link is just like an ex girlfriend. You don't want to think about her anymore. You don't want anyone to think about her anymore. She's an
Yeah.
ex. So this missing link is an ex.
Yeah. Let's just screw it. Screw it. But
Screw it. Yeah. Okay.
so, and we will move on. We will move on to, how about we'll jump on. We're not going to talk about Darwin anymore, who married his first cousin. And that's how actually he, discovered that, mixing the same bloodline is not really good for the health
Yeah.
of your children, which is,
Kind of
he,
gives you some problems. Yeah. Kind of gives your kids a little, yeah,
he
some
discovered a
problems.
lot of things on his own mistakes. And
That's
he
why
did a lot
that's why you can actually call him scientist, because he was experimenting, I guess.
on his own children. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah. But now we know, because if he didn't marry his cousin, who knows? Maybe we kept marrying. Well, things happen. People still
Yeah,
marry
but
their
we had
cousins and all of that.
Gabsburgs. Do you remember this very
Don't let it
famous
stop.
Gabsburg's jaw? When they were, crossbreeding inside a family, and all the next princes and princesses, they developed
Yeah,
pretty big jaw and tongue, and they couldn't even speak. So yeah, I think that people would understand that this is a bad idea eventually, even without Darwin.
eventually, yes,
Yeah.
eventually, because it took but I mean, good for you, Darwin. Thank you. Uh, if you hear us. Oh
Yeah.
no, we cannot. It's another theory, right? It's theology or whatever. Ology, some kind of ology. If we stick to Darwin in the sky, that's not the
Well,
mainstream science.
yes, but
It's not
you know
science
what?
at
The
all.
Darwin theory does not. It doesn't say that there's nothing else apart from the science. So maybe he was still believing in some, extraterrestrial powers, some universe, and whatever, whatever. So we don't know.
Yeah, but because if you look at paintings of those times,
Yeah.
some of the paintings actually have little alien shape in those paintings.
Oh, yeah, aliens.
Yeah, and
Our
who knows
favorite
who angels
topic.
were? Who knows
Yeah.
where angels were? But that's again, it's a different story. But let's see. Let's see. So we go. Well, let's skip a few thousands and hundreds of thousands of years. We go to the Eurasia, where we go to the continent, and some of the humans they settle in Mesopotamia, which is the former.
Hmm.
Former Mesopotamia is Iraq nowadays,
Okay.
and they create the first civilization, which is some Sumerians in Russian, Sumerians, which
Hmm.
is it's the first they created this first civilization. Out of nowhere, they settled. They decided to settle, like stop, already stop traveling. They decided settle right here and start creating like crazy, like literally like insane. Like it's AI right now. That's what AI of those days and their brains out of
Maybe.
nowhere.
Yeah.
They
But you know
created
what? You know what?
everything.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a saying: if one ape or a monkey found out how to crack a coconut, every monkey around her will finally will know it. So if one person, even a little bit developed, decided that they need to settle and kind of like build a home or something like this, there's a very high possibility that there would be a lot of other Homo sapiens that agree with this person and develop a community, and that's how the civilization starts.
Yeah, that's how it started, and some of the people discovered a lot of um, writing, right, and a lot of writing, a lot of in Sumerian
Yeah.
culture, and then we discovered that there were Anunnakis, which were
Hmm.
gods from the skies, but well, some people, and it's actually one person, he said there were gods, but they were not called gods. So it's somebody called Anunnaki actually were Sumerians or gay Sumerians their knowledge, right? That they didn't come up with it, but we're having used this is one theory and this is another one. One cracked a coconut, that's one theory. Anunnaki, the gods, it's another theory, right? And
Yeah.
personally, which one I navigate over to, I
Oh
don't know
yeah. I know it. I know it.
which my kids will kill me for, but
You know what?
yeah.
We made a huge mistake, but because I think that we needed your daughter here. I think she will be a very good addition to this conversation.
But only she would be on ChatGPT.
Take her phone away.
Yeah, constantly typing in and giving me and reading me and
Okay.
whatever discoveries she made. But so what the Sumerians or Anunnakis or whichever way they came created. And one of the things, well, they created agriculture. They created first cities,
Mm-hmm.
the agriculture system. They started not humanize animals, not humanize aliens, domesticate not aliens, Jesus, animals, domesticated aliens. That's cool, but it's not aliens, it's animals. And the one of things that they created, Julia, that was
Okay.
our system. Okay, the
Okay.
60 minutes, the 60 seconds. How do you think they created it?
You will tell me.
Because it was one thing,
Okay.
because it's divided by six, and they didn't have thousands, they didn't count in tens like now, they counted in six. Another theory, it was
Okay.
easier to count on fingers. And when you think about it, that we have this system from that times, hundreds of thousands of years ago, right? They created it. We still live by this system. How do we even know
Because
that
it's
it's
easy.
correct? How do we know? Maybe we're not even the age we are. Maybe it's, yeah, we know that months, but it's different. It came from Egypt. It came from there's like months and years and calendar year, but if they counted on moons and sun and all of that, that is more like
It's
direct,
right for
right?
us. It's right for us. The years
Exactly,
is right for us. Yeah. But
exactly. And no one
if you
ever
will talk,
challenged it.
yeah, if you will talk to Starobryatsi in Russia, they will tell you that this is a completely different year because they don't have the same years as we are, and they still
Yeah,
exist and they still don't live, by our in 2026. They don't live in this year. So, of course, it is easier for us to be, in this particular system with the minutes and hours and days and months and years. Of course, it is not going to be changing. Like, I don't think it's going to change.
no, all the
Even if
governments
someone will tell
accepted
you,
it. It would be difficult
yeah, yeah, everyone
and
accepts
stupid,
it.
kind of.
And well, if can you imagine it? Like, we have 12, like, you are having different time. You're in a different time zone as
Right,
from me. So it is
right.
also it's kind of inconvenience for you and for me because we cannot, like, decide on 1 hour and on particular time
Yeah, by the way,
because
Julia is sitting right now in St. Petersburg, Russia, and I am in America, Florida.
yeah.
So, yes.
Can you imagine if the countries would have a completely different hour system?
Yeah.
You're going to be living in, I don't know, like in Australia. They're not living in spring. They're living, I guess, in
Yeah, they
autumn.
already have different, yeah,
Yeah,
time zone, not time zones, seasons, different,
seasons.
opposite.
Yeah, yeah. So I think
Imagine that. I would not, I mean, you get used to it. Whether it's just summer and in winter, it just words basically, right? It just words. So, but if you think of it, like they have, like they're coming into fall right now and winter, and we're in Africa too, but we're like summer, and we're
yeah.
in summer.
There's a lot of myths about how people were created. A lot of them are very
Created
similar.
what?
A human, how the
The
human been
humans created.
created.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
yeah, there's the theories and myths that God created us. Someone saying that demons created us. I mean, not just people from our, of course, from our time, but from people from the past. Um, and that's why I think that it is such an incredible topic about science versus theological things versus cultural things, because every human being wants to know their parents. I don't know any person, like, in my life who never wanted to really know their parents or grandparents. We wanted to know our lineage. We wanted to know our ancestors. So
yeah.
that's why this the theories and proofs and searches and finds are so important, because, like, you know that in Moldovan myths, the myth is that the devil tried to make a human.
Uh-huh.
And
No.
yeah, and he created amphibian, a dog, and a pig.
Mm-hmm.
Amphibian, dog, and a pig. What theory do you know that we came from? We also been created. We've been created from fish.
Fair
Yeah.
fish. Yeah.
So yeah. So these myths, they stick together and they develop a lot of new ideas, new everything. So I don't
Well,
think that.
the people, yeah, that like they were this myth, right? This myth
Yeah.
that were created by, they were created hundreds of thousands of years ago, thousands, probably not hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
They did not come from science. They didn't come from Darwin. They came from whatever notes or old folk stories, right? Folk stories, something like different kind of transition, different kind of road to get to people. So it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with science, but it's the same theory, right? Um, it's it, how did and we'll go like a legend and myth, all of that, because I tried to put, like I said, I tried to put a map on human development
Yeah.
yesterday, and it was just like my mind went to so many directions. I'm like, I was completely blown and emotional and going crazy because I tried to put all pieces together. Because like in your history, your history, right? The mainstream history, obviously, the convenient
Yeah.
history. But as a historian, obviously, you read and you learn in studying the first civilization, including Sumerians, and including and the next one is Babylon, right? Babylon, right? Which
Yeah. Well,
basically, when you start
Babylon.
researching it and how it was created, so the Sumerians civilization dies out. How? We don't know. It dies out. It had its own language that was actually carried to for a while to other civilization. The Babylonian was the next civilization. It was the same region, but
Mm-hmm.
it developed on its own after Sumerians died out. They didn't adapt that language. The language died by itself. They had their own language. They actually created the writing, the the
Mm-hmm.
first writing system and everything. So the Babylonians started continue on this path of building cities and building the modern civilization, developing the writing and language and all of that. But they developed new language with the same
Mm-hmm.
vocal cords that dropped in Africa while the apes were developing and needed the conversation about mammoths. So they create their own civilization, and Babylon is it's kind of legend, right?
They start from somewhere. Myths start from, I mean, this is something.
But remember that the first those developed humans went back to Africa and created Egypt,
Okay,
or they stayed in Africa and developed the same Homo sapienses that on the main region, the same human, and started developing Egypt, and that's where you go with legends, because
you
we
know
have
what?
legends.
We are so talented. We can create a lot of civilizations like just like that. Can you imagine it? Oh my god, people are so good. Yeah, legends. There's a lot of legends about the creation of people, about the creation of Earth itself, about the creation of life. Like the nine people, they thought that some particular god bit himself, bit
Yeah.
his finger, and that's how people were born, from the drop of blood. And this is also very interesting because everything connects to blood, DNA, the blood, how it circulates in our system. And without blood, some our limbs cannot move and everything. So this is a very interesting thing that people, even from a very very deep dark ages, they thought some very interesting in some right directions, I guess. I think that this is also very peculiar for us to know. Not just someone moved their hand and we became. No, every time when we're reading myth or legend, some process happened, some process of developing. Not just
Yeah.
a drop of blood. The drop of blood, it fell on the earth. The earth sucked it. Something was born from it, and that's how the first human appeared. Um, some
And
myths
then they produced
actually,
a lot of animals.
some myths actually say that we were born from the earth, that we grew up from the earth like mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Because because mushrooms, they grow up from the earth in very different places. It's not like they're growing up from seeds or something. Yeah,
It's a
this is
system, yeah, fungus, yeah,
yeah,
yes. They're
yes.
fungi,
So
yeah.
it's very
So we're
very
fungi.
very, yeah, it's very very interesting. Like in China, there's a lot of myths about humans. um they say that there was the first man who actually was born from an egg. Chicken or an egg? What was first? So he was born from an egg. And this egg was filled with chaos. And in this chaos, like a space, right? And this chaos, something, a very micro pieces of something, they merged together, and that's how a human was created. So it's also pretty good theory. We don't know. Maybe this was
like any other theory. It's a good theory, right?
Yeah. Also,
Why
they
not?
have the myth about their goddess, Nuive, that she was making people from glina, from ceramics.
Yes. Oh my God. Just a second. Clay.
Clay. Right. She was making people from clay. In India, there was also this first man, Puruma. The universe was created from his body. This first man, Puruma. From his head, priests were born. From his hands, warriors were born, and from his legs, peasants were born, and some other lower classes. So
That's
there
so
was this first.
That's the most ridiculous legend.
Why not? Why not?
Not more ridiculous than Cyclop or anything, or Middle's Gargoyle.
But you know what? This is also some kind of. This is also some kind of. It's like 50 apes, 50 types of apes, because some apes, created this and some apes created that. Also, about the myth about the human from the egg. India also has this myth about a human that was created from the egg. So this is a very common thing.
It's an alien ship. That's in the form of egg.
Maybe that's also a probability of this, of course. So in this myth, he created his sons with the power of his thought. Of course.
Oh, manifestation. And he created his sons on the power of his thoughts. Perfect.
So yeah, he first created his sons, and then he created his daughters, of course. And from his daughters and sons, all of the other, gods and demons and birds and everything was created from these his sons and daughters. So
yeah,
pretty interesting. Yeah. One person from an egg created his children with the power of his thought, and we don't know what children were they, right? They could have been like dogs and everything. He also could call them their children. So, and by the way, this is a very good idea. This is a very good myth for your liking of the alien theory, because one person that landed on the earth, and he had some lab with him, and everything was in this lab, and everything was created by this person. So
why not?
The Turks, they also had like 3 gods: Tengri, Umay, and Iduk. Tengri, she created humans from clay, but they were soulless. And Tengri actually asked a dog and a cat to guard them, and went to capture the souls for his creation. But another god, Erling, they actually put a mortal soul in this people from clay. Tengri knew about this, and was very devastated with this. He cleaned the souls of humans, but because of Erling's deeds, because of his actions, humans are mortal now. And after death, we go to his domain. We go to the underworld. This is the myth of Turks.
Underworld, they said that aliens live underground actually now. But
I've never heard this. I've never heard this theory actually, that aliens live underground.
It
No.
just came out with all these files and everything. They said they don't live underground or they live underwater. That's their whole
Underwater,
theory.
yeah, I've heard that, but I've never heard that they're
Underground, that
living underground.
Antarctica,
Oh, okay. And
that region.
what do they do underground?
I don't know. Have a life, a party.
Why would aliens live
Build
underground?
their Babylon, which is a real city. But anyway, that's a very good point. That's a lot of myth and came of creation of humans or a civilization came from right before Darwin, right? But obviously
Yeah,
it's not scientific, so the scientists could not accept it, which is I agree with. Why would they accept some mumbo jumbo about different human created from clay? But of course, if you
clay
look
and
at
an egg, because clay and
an
egg,
egg, yeah,
because we as Slavic people, they also had this myth about a human being that was born from an egg, and this is a very common myth. And I don't know how it actually, how people decided that we are born from the egg, because
yeah,
it's it's pretty common. It's pretty obvious thought, maybe, because women give birth to people, to babies, and their womb is also kind of like an egg. So maybe Asian people just decided that the before us there was some kind of cosmic egg that created us.
yeah, maybe. All this a myth, and in they develop in different countries, and we have legend of uh, Egypt or and a
Yeah,
legends, um, which are basically the same, but they develop on different continents, and but they just have different names, right? But they're basically the same. Everyone who read them in their childhood. And I remember the book was blue, dark navy color, Legend of I think Roman. I had the one I had. I think it was so difficult to find and buy those books. Remember?
no, I don't think I had this one. I don't think I had this one. I have the all the Greek myths and everything, but I don't think I had Roman myths.
I didn't think I had. Maybe I don't remember. I had one of those. I just
Okay.
remember that I had something in my possession and something I got from the library, but I
I
remember it was
remember when
maybe
I was a kid
color.
and we were studying this thing in on a biology classes. The class was divided from people who actually agreed that we came from apes, that they were very happy about it. It was always funny. Oh, it's we were even mocking ourselves, like, you're a monkey, you're a monkey, we're all monkeys. And some people, they were strictly against it. It was just the kids, but they were so you know um, angry that someone told them that they actually were born, or they came from an ape. No, I'm a human. I cannot be an ape. So there always
Yeah.
been people who wanted to believe this because it's an easy theory, and some people who doesn't want to believe it, like, in any case, any form, and they don't want to hear any explanations. And probably that's because it's a little insulting to think that in a reality you're just an ape, developed a little bit, not so much, but an ape.
Well, the human is a very complicated. I mean, every organism complicated, even a
Yeah,
bacteria. It's somehow it's Bing Bang, blah blah, blood, drop of blood or whatever, and we turn into this extremely complicated organism with so many processes going on that we, as I said, we're still discovering new organs in our body even with our advanced
yeah,
technology. But like, and we have consciousness, right? We don't know if animals have consciousness because we cannot really look into that. We some think yes and something no, but we develop consciousness at what point? Were we in Africa still, or we settled up in Iraq and turned into conscious human beings? And by the way, it's only 50% of people. No, not 50. It's a different thing. It's something different that I was like talking
Okay.
about. But they develop consciousness, right? And where all this consciousness come from? How do we create things from thoughts? That's a completely different story, right? It's at some point. When did it develop? At one point. At what point we started developing, not just physically and intellectually, but in terms of
Mentally.
mentally, psychologically. Like okay, we can understand psychology. What would be the word for consciousness? Consciously, I guess. It's conscious. How we did we develop this consciousness? And meta, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the words and I don't remember the word.
Metaphysics?
Metabologically,
No?
metaphysically. Yes, yeah, that's a word.
Metaphysical.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What if we're talking about some theories of how first human was created. What do you think is the most logical one, even though they're just myths and legends? The egg or the clay?
Um, another civilization. That's the
Me,
actual. It didn't start on Earth. That's what
it didn't
my
start on
theory.
Earth.
It didn't start on Earth.
Okay,
Somebody or something brought it here,
okay. So
brought
if
life,
we
and
did
maybe it
not,
was an egg, but not clay. But maybe it was like some kind of
but you know what? I'm always curious when I hear such words, and I'm not like debating, and I'm not degrading your
right.
thoughts about this, but if we came from the space, we are some lab project, we are the we were put here to make this beautiful land livable.
Or maybe for some other
Who
reason, but yes.
maybe for some other reasons that doesn't matter, but how we were created then, and how were those creatures that put us here were created then. So the question of how
Exactly. Exactly.
how the first, yeah, the question is still open, even
The
if
question
we're
is
saying that.
will be always open with the whole universe, but it's going into other dimensions, right? But that's what my belief, or not belief, not belief. I would not call it a belief.
Mhm,
I'm leaning toward. That would be probably the right choice of words. I'm leaning toward that it was brought to Earth by somebody else,
mhm.
and how they develop, I don't know. I don't know what universe is. I mean, I know, but by what scientist says, but I don't really know, um,
So in
because
short, cosmic act filled with chaos.
yes, exactly, exactly. And if you think about it, then yes, they probably brought it in some kind of form of egg, right? They
Yeah.
in some, and so this knowledge about the egg was passed to other generations that saved that knowledge, right? And
Hmm.
we see a lot of we're, by the way, you're not going to get any answers from us. We're not doing the answer things, as we said in the beginning. We're not
Nah.
trying to do that. We're just talking, we're just discussing and trying to wrap our own minds
We're
about it.
digging ourselves deeper and deeper.
Yeah, and deeper, exactly. And all this art on walls with little, some, alien looking creatures and alien looking
Okay.
outfits. And then we go to Egypt, where they have inside of the pyramids. But if we don't talk about that, the pyramids will build, and you have your beliefs in it, and I'm leaning
Okay.
obviously toward another direction. But if we look at walls of the pyramids, and we can see it now in museum. We have a lot of things right now in different museums where you can actually see the actual writing and drawing. We have there's a lot of drawings that show, for example, artificial insemination, right?
Hmm.
We see different kind of surgeries that are performed, and obviously it's a primitive. drawing, so it's more like a guess from what we see. It's not a photograph. But if we look at that, and plus we have a lot of they have a lot of gods in forms of birds and everything, right? In Egypt.
Yeah,
So if
birds
you
and
look,
animals and reptilians. Yes, of
yeah,
course.
there are gods. So if we even look at that, and we say that the writing and basically everything was in developing, in the developing stages. So they basically draw whatever they saw, right? If we look at that, maybe some people can say, okay, is there's something weird about it? Either it was a fantasy or it was something real, and there were really pictures of this weird looking performing those activities like artificial insemination, different kind of surgeries, while building, while the humans were building pyramids and underground constructions
So
under the pyramids that were
you
just
basically are
discovered.
talking about Stargate Atlantis now.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe not Stargate Atlantis, but something,
Well,
something. I don't know what it was.
yeah,
Yeah, but
every as we know it now, there's a lot of theories and a lot of movies and books, that actually are now starting to become true. So maybe someone knew something. But I actually like this TV series very much, and it showed a lot of very interesting things about ancient Egypt and Egyptian gods and everything. So yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty interesting.
it's
Besides
very
the point of
interesting. And
yeah.
talking about even to going to nowadays, that maps of human development, it's not going to happen. It's too much. It's impossible. But
Mhm.
put in one show. But even we're talking about now in those missing scientists, right?
Oh, missing scientists. It's a completely different topic, and
But
I
it's
think
kind of
there's
connected to this, to aliens and everything else,
yeah,
because
I
they were
think that
talking
there's
about first humans.
a lot of things that we don't know about this. A lot of things that could have been open to a public if those people did not disappear. Perhaps about how we developed, how the first human actually become Homo sapiens or something of the sort. I don't know, but I cannot say that I believe like in any theory that I've ever read in my entire life. I don't believe that this is a Darwin theory. I don't believe that we were born from the cosmic egg. I don't believe that we were made from the menstrual blood of a son. There's also this myth, and it comes from
Okay,
actually Native American tribes, one of the Native American tribes. So I think
it's
that
still blah.
well, whatever, so I think that there's a very big and very interesting mystery that probably we'll never be able to solve.
I
Probably
believe
we will never
we
be
can.
able to crack it. Huh?
I think we
What?
can. With in the future, I see that something is happening because there's so much going on right now. So much things are
Okay.
discovering. And what if the Darwin? What if? Just what if? Relax, people. Chill,
Okay.
okay? Chill. What if the Darwin theory is just a cover up for the government? Who
Maybe. But
and there's everything, for example, that is hidden from us and secret in the Vatican. There is maybe the real truth in it. That is,
Vatican is another
they know.
topic of itself because Vatican has so many secrets, dirty secrets, very
Yes,
alarming secrets that yeah,
but that's, yeah, exactly. It's another topic, but that's, to me, that's, if we start from the beginning and where the Darwin theory was started and why it was accepted by
yeah,
the mainstream scientists. What if it's connected to the cover up because it came from the government? All this, the stuff put to school. It's convenient. That's what you teach. That's what you learn. That, yeah, you have your religious people who will still believe that God created humans, and they will be in scientific community who will believe that we came from apes, and there will be other people who believe whatever other theory
yeah.
exists. But at the end, it could be a cover up for something because it
Could
came
be.
still from one source that we all have to believe in this theory, and it's pushed for us that's very heavily, and it's fight with us constantly if you challenge it. And since a lot of things, and there's dark state, and the big higher
Yeah.
government, and all of this, maybe we're not even in the beginning of understanding of how it was created, but maybe just because it's the age of clearness, right, of disclosure. What if?
Yeah. What
What
if?
if? Well,
But
now it's
do
the
you,
time.
yeah, but do you actually want to know? Or
So
you're just
about that,
curious? Yeah. What would
I
you
would
do with
not
the
want it for
information?
other people.
Okay.
I would not want it for other people who are like, I don't want it for people who are clenched on something,
Yeah.
who are strongly believe in something, because I'm not a person. I'm very flexible. Okay.
That's why I'm always open for debate. That's why I
Yes.
don't particularly believe in, in one theory. I'm open to the knowledges. And it's very interesting to find the similarities between the myths and legends and theories and science proofs and everything. That's
Yeah.
how, it's piling up. And of course, it makes you wonder, where's the end of that? Is there,
Yeah.
if there's actually going to be the end of it? So yeah.
Yeah. When you jump in a rabbit hole, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's a crazy fall, and it's that's why people who want to believe in one theory, it's actually makes them feel safe. Okay, it makes him like, okay, that's how it happens. Now I can live, buy my groceries, watch my TV show, and chill. There's nothing else. That's how it happened, right? But I want to tell my daughter,
Okay.
aha, I told you, the aliens.
The alien, indeed. Well, we both know that, you and I, for ourselves, that aliens exist, because it's pretty silly to think that we are the only ones in the whole
Yes, they keep
universe.
discovering new planets every single day. The few
Yeah.
planets that have could possibly have
We're
life like
not
on
that
Earth.
unique. Yeah, we're not that unique. We're not in a young adult movie or young adult book.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, we're not the chosen
exactly.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's such an interesting topics. Like I would love to have a real scientist who would like pull his hair out and scream at us and trying to
I
pull
would
his hair.
I would
Eh,
love
That
to
would be
I would
fun.
love to have I would love to talk to a scientist, an actual scientist, not just someone
Yeah,
who was studying it like in a university and doesn't do anything with a
exactly.
degree. Yeah, but a person who actually studies humans, genes, DNA, history of
Yes.
our development. So maybe this person would tell us something new that we don't know. Maybe this person would try to convince in the rightness of one theory, one and only theory. I would actually love to talk to a person who, discovers and studies myths of how we were created. Because this is a very interesting too. This is a person who actually knows a lot more than I just put from my head, that I
Exactly.
remember I
Yes, they
read somewhere.
dedicate their life to it.
Yeah,
It's not even
yeah, because
comparable.
we actually don't. We have actual myths, actual legends that been alive for thousands of years from different cultures, and we also have this cabinet myths that have been developed by the historians and scientists, to from the different pics and pictures and different things that they studied somewhere. And those cabinet myths, they're not the original ones, and sometimes we don't know what we're reading, the real myth or the cabinet myth. Because like in
Yeah.
Slavic legends and Slavic history, unfortunately there's tons of cabinet myths, that people actually created to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
Very sad, but
Yeah.
true. So
And
yeah, it's a very interesting topic, and I don't know for myself if I really want to know, uh, how I've been created. If I was My ancestors were apes.
Why won't you not want to know?
I don't know, maybe because this is the end of it then. Maybe there's no questions left anymore.
But isn't
We
it
came
good?
from
Because some people do not have questions, never had questions. But if
that.
it's like stops, if you will stop questioning it, then how will it change it? How will it change your life?
I think it will change my life for worse because the curiosity dies. The need to
Hmm.
research dies. The actual, developing of the theories dies. The search for similarities between different things that you've seen, heard, or read dies because you already know the truth. This is what happened, and period. Maybe, of course, if this answer will tell us that we were created by some aliens and we don't know which aliens, and of course, then there's going to be the search for where did we come from. This is a possibility too.
Yeah. To me personally, also, I think the younger generation with their chat GPTs, I mean, not just chat
Mm.
GPTs, just different kind of AIs and the Google and
Yeah.
all of that. Um, do they, it would be nice if they actually would research something else besides, I don't know, new style of music or something like that, which, goes deeper. And actually, the best wish for this is that AI actually pulls real answers from real scientific discoveries, and not like yesterday I was researching and I wanted to see every single uh, source of information, and one
Yeah.
of the source of information was Facebook, and I'm like, okay, I think we're done here.
You
Facebook,
know what? I
okay.
really do hope, even if we were created from apes, if we
Facebook.
actually were apes, I really do hope that our, in the future, with the AI, with lack of interest and curiosity and everything, we're not going to be apes again.
Well, probably will be. But can you imagine Facebook? What's your source of information for
No,
Babylon?
no,
Facebook. No, I
no.
need no Babylon. I don't remember what exactly it was, but I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, who wrote that post on Facebook? Why did you put? So the
You
AI
you
needs to
can't
give you
you
an
can't
answer.
you can count even on Wikipedia that everyone said that they read the
Not
article in, because Wikipedia is nothing. It's not a source of information. It's a source of silly things that you don't even know who wrote. So yeah,
yeah. Previously, the information I watched and found, it was all on YouTube, and actually long documentaries. And long
yeah,
documentaries, they showed you the real research, like that bacteria that cannot live without, if anything you cut a part of that bacteria, it cannot survive. So that basically, I try to find it, but I don't know, it's blocked or something, because I don't remember the name. I tried to find it, I couldn't, because it basically destroys the Darwin's theory. Because in Darwin's
hmm,
theory, if you lose a tail, you keep living, right? Basically, pretty
yeah,
much, you change your nose shape or your beak, and you keep living. But that one, but to me also, that I think that because AI now, a lot of AIs are. It's a different story, but a lot of AIs are now going to be connected with the government, with the Pentagon, for example, in America,
already.
and they're, yeah, okay, and how are they going to give the information? What information would be given? Like, I got this information from Facebook. Who wrote that post?
The
Why do
only
I?
information will be given that government wants. That's it.
Exactly. So that the people, it's not in easy research. When you start research, it's not in easy research right now. It actually becomes more difficult to find the correct information, because it's more
That's
easy for the government to control what you think and what you
that's
should
how,
think.
yeah, that's why you have libraries, and not just libraries but the
They're gonna
paper
be burned.
books.
That's why they're gonna
The
be burned.
paper book is this, when you have ebook that you don't even own, everything can be changed just like this.
Absolutely.
You can
Absolutely.
download the book and you can find this book 5 years later, and everything would be changed in this. So only paper books.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Only paper if they're not, they don't burn it, because there's a need for it to actually, you know, just destroy everything, all the knowledge and all the history, and give us what they want, whatever they are, whatever they are, whoever put it at the.
451 Fahrenheit. We already have this book.
We know that. We know that.
Yeah.
That's and science fiction, but maybe it could become a reality, and that's how we came from the Darwin to this point. And yeah, the main thought is always challenge. Um, Everything that is given to you is a concrete. It's like a theory, but it's given you as only reasonable and correct answer unless it's
Yeah.
math. Always
I
challenge
think that
it, always, yeah.
you always have to research. And this is such a beautiful thing that you can do with your time. Research. Don't believe everything you've been saying. Don't believe us. Research yourself.
No, yeah, that especially, no one will believe us.
Yeah. So this was a very interesting topic. We've
Yeah,
had a lot of different thoughts on things.
there's so much
A
to
lot of new
discuss, and it will be
information. There's so
interesting.
much to
Yeah,
discuss, and maybe we will continue this. Maybe we will find the right person to join us. But can you leave us a comment? What do you think about the Darwin theory, or the some theories from another cultures? How do you
yeah,
think the first human was created? Do you believe it was a God's deed? Do you believe it was science experiment?
yeah.
And
Our
yeah,
goal is not give you answers. Our goal is to create a discussion, to create a safe, or maybe not safe, depending on how you believe it,
yeah,
a
yeah,
space where you can, ask these questions, try to find an answer, and maybe somebody else will give another answer. Just to create this space where you can discuss it. Just to, you know,
that's true. That's true. Well, it was
just
very good. It was very interesting.
motivate for discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it motivated me to read other myths about the human and Earth creations, because why not? Like and subscribe, and I think we will wrap it up for today. And see you
Yep.
next time.
Bye, guys. Would love
Bye.
to talk to you. Bye.